You said I have a dad, but I'm going to see mama.
Today would have been my mother's 100th birthday had she still alive. Yeah.
Jeez. Wow, what a blessing. What a blessing.
Yeah, she would have been 100. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you got longevity on your side, but man.
Well, she didn't live to 100. She if she was still alive, she would be 100 today, is what I was saying.
So what age was she when she got a wing?
91.
Well, like I said, okay. You got longevity on your side. Ooh, traveling is not what it used to be. I'm telling you, okay?
These days, as a young Black man, if you make it past 25, you're doing good, you know?
Yeah. That's true. I think as a Black person at this point, I don't think it's man or woman situation anymore, you know? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm getting situated. Here we go.
Okay, I kicked myself out. Look at that, eh? Donna Dimely, how are you? Good to see you. And John, and Tricia. Welcome, everyone. What happened? Oh, Stephen went dark. So as we are waiting for our guests, Stephen, you're on mute.
I heard my name mentioned.
Hello, Miss Emma. How are you today? You're on mute.
Okay, there you go. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Emma.
Hi, everyone.
Good.
Awesome. Mr. Robert, how are you? Okay. So we got a couple of minutes. Everyone had a good week?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Looking forward this weekend.
Oh, I got a crazy weekend. It's just like I got to be in 9 places at one time. I got to be in 9 places at one time today. I need to duplicate me. Hey, Mr. Murray. Hey, Bianca.
Hi, Crystal.
Hello. Did you get the picture I sent of my uncle to you?
No, how'd you send it?
I texted.
Oh, let me go check my phone. I did not.
And then my aunt is sending us some more. And I have a cousin that wants to. I want to introduce you to. She wants to be part of the board. She works in workforce readiness. So I will talk to you offline.
Yeah, because we are just now sending out invitations for interviews for the board members. So yes, that's perfect.
Okay, sounds cool. All righty, so we got a minute, and Greg, you'll be ready, and everybody will be ready, and in a few seconds. Safe travels, Robin.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you, my sister.
She's going to visit her mama, not her daddy.
Oh, yes. Well, please be safe.
Yeah, all of my family lives in St. Louis, so so when I say that, but you, of course, the first person you think about is your mom. That's at least that's what I do. But as I said in the chat box, there are a host of resources available for all of our constituents who dial in weekly. So please don't do without. Please let us know what you need. Be specific about what you need, and we will find those resources for you.
Yes, for sure. And so we're getting ready to get started. I'm going to shout out because my mom's, she's in heaven now, but her birthday was on the 2nd. And then my brother, who's also in heaven, and his birthday was on the 8th. And my grandmother's is on the 13th. So June is a powerful month for my family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Happy heavenly birthday to all of that family.
Yeah. So Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hello, Kevin. Welcome. Glad to have you. Gotta come off of mute. All righty, you guys ready to rock and roll?
Oh, listen to that
voice.
voice. There's
Good
that
morning,
Now, that's
everybody.
a real voice.
Good morning.
Good morning. Greg, you have to drop your voices down an octave or two. Good morning, everyone. Welcome
I'll do my best to bring it down just a
community
minute.
briefing. We're glad to have you, and we have a fantastic. There you go. There you go. So we want to welcome you all to the community briefing. We're glad to have you. We have a fantastic guest today. June is Black Music Month or Appreciation Month, and if you guys were here last week, we had an amazing interview with Waka. Wasa, is that what it was? She was awesome. So today, Kevin Nash from KJLH and Accelerated Radio. He's going to also enlighten us about the Black music and how important it is to our community. So with that, Stephen, are you going to introduce yourself now or later? Okay. I am Crystal Mitchell, and I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. And this little platform was a kind of a brain storm that I came up with back in the beginning part of COVID to make sure that we had a platform that would inform us on what was going on as far as money and relief and how do we survive, how do our businesses survive, and then hopefully thrive. Now it has evolved into this amazing platform with these amazing team leaders and teammates of mine. And so we now bring you information from those that are sitting at the table, making decisions and hearing the decisions to keep us off the menu so that we can make the decisions for our businesses. So I want to welcome you to the platform. I also co-host another show called The Business Zone with Gilbert, which broadcasts live every Friday afternoon at 3:00. So please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe and check it out. Had an awesome interview last week with a young lady that was an immigrant from Cameroon that got detained at the airport and was put in detention for 9 months. And somehow or another, by the grace of God, the girl still stayed here in America. I would have packed my bags and left, but they treated her really bad and she stayed, but she's doing some awesome. So you have to go over to hear that show. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Robin so she can introduce herself before her plane comes.
Hi guys, it's Robin Billups with the Billups Group. I'm a business consultant, business advisor with over 30 some years in the financial services industry. I work with entrepreneurs and corporations looking to diversify their supply chain and also meet their compliance requirements. I'm excited to be here. I had a wonderful conversation with Kevin about coming on, so I'm looking forward to hearing his tales and his resources and his new journey that he's on with the Academy. So thanks again.
Awesome. So, Mr. Greg, you're going to enlighten us with music first or introduction first?
I'll do a little bit of both. So my name is Gregory Sneed. I'm a financial coach, and I help people keep more of the money that they make. I also have a business in teaching financial literacy to middle school all the way up to seniors. And I market life insurance and long-term care. My business is Lifesaver Financial Services because I believe when you feel better about your money, you feel better about your life. And Crystal, I think you're up next. You're on mute.
We are ready to go. So are you ready to introduce our guest?
I am ready.
All righty.
So today we have Mr. Kevin Nash. Oh, I got to throw on my radio voice. I got to bring the bass down a little bit there. So normally I speak in my New York, Brooklyn, but I'll bring down the bass just a tad in honor of Mr. Kevin Nash there. So Kevin Nash is a on-air personality, and he's created an extraordinary presence in the radio scene, generating a loyal following throughout California and abroad. With an authentic heart for music, this class act has worked just about all genres of music to include gospel, light rock, jazz, oldies, and urban contemporary. He's also the voice of BET from BET Awards, Celebration of Gospel, as well as AOL Radio, ABC Sports Halftime Show, movie trailers, radio imaging. He's worked with some of the best in the industry. He was nominated R&R Personality of the Year and won Radio Personality of the Year, Urban Radio Network, an NAACP Men of Valor Award, Gospel Announcer Year Award, and the A.M.E. Theology in the Neighborhood Award. He's currently on Stevie Wonder's KJLH 102.3 from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. He has humble roots from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Kevin Nash is a musician, and he also plays the piano and began singing at a young age. A little bit of his radio background, because I have an affinity with radio. In fact, while I was in college, I had a radio show. I even had my third-class license, engineer my own show.
Nice.
He started off at KHTR in St. Louis, 103, affectionately known as Keep Hearing Those Repeats, I think. He also was at KTID in San Rafael, California. KDIA AM, which was the soul and funk radio in the Bay Area. And they also helped to birth the music career of Sly and the Family Stone, which,
man, you know your history.
He's in the background right now. So one of my favorite songs is Sex Machine from Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know my music and my history. Yes.
Man, KDIA was the boss of the Bay.
That's right. That's it. Lucky 13, right?
Yep, Lucky 13. That was before I got there, but I heard about Lucky 13.
Then he was at KMEL, on-air personality there at 106.1, San Francisco Bay Area. Had probably one of the strongest signals in the Bay Area. So if you couldn't hear that station, your radio was broke. Yeah. and their format killed one of my favorite stations up there in the area, which was KSOL.
107.7. I remember KSOL.
Yes. In San Mateo. And then he went to KBLX, Quiet Storm, at that time owned by Inner City Broadcasting, and the sister station to WBLS in New York.
Yes.
And I remember BLS when it was birthed, because it was WLIB before that. So,
right.
Then he left there and came here to Los Angeles, KKBT, The Beat, 100.3. And I didn't know that there's a KKBT in Samoa, also urban contemporary.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just found that out myself. And he's at KJLH. He also has the Accelerated Radio School of Broadcasting. And he's got students from middle school to, believe age 83.
Oh, he's 85 now.
85 now, okay. And his mission is to infect people with the radio disease.
Oh, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you.
Please welcome Mr. Kevin Nash.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's right. The coronavirus ain't got nothing on me. I'm gonna get you in radio.
I love it.
How awesome! What an accolade of career accomplishments. Just amazing. Welcome, Kevin. We're glad to have you.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
So tell us about this this career journey of yours, and obviously radio was in your blood as a child, as a baby.
Oh, I have to say this. I was somewhat of a precocious kid, just reflecting and looking back in retrospect, how I got into it all. I have to say I was someone that was very goal-oriented, from a very early age. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do, believe it or not. I think I accomplished most of my goals by the age of 13. You talked about this month being June and celebrating all the Geminis. I think I'm a true Gemini to heart because I wanted to do everything. I was a very curious kid. I remember having this dream. I was 5 years old. And God spoke to me and says, I have work for you to do. And I automatically assumed that he wanted me to preach. So I remember at the age of, I remember at the age of 7 years old, I went in front of the church and told them that God called me to preach and this and that. And I want to start now. Right. And the pastor said, well, you've been called, but you haven't been sent yet. And I didn't quite understand that. You've been called, but you haven't been sent. So he never let me preach. I mean, I stayed there on the pulpit, not saying a thing, for like 6 months. And I decided to leave my parents' church. I was going on 8 years old, and I went to this church who allowed me to preach. So I began to preach the gospel in Southwest Louisiana at a very, very early age. And I stumbled across radio. A neighbor of mine had his own gospel radio show on Sunday mornings. We would listen to it every Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. And he was my next door neighbor, older guy, Brother James Ford. I always give him props and acknowledge him every time I speak about the beginnings of how I got started. I was 11 years old at the time, and he picked me up and he took me to the radio station. The engineer who was engineering all the gospel programming on Sunday morning was 18, and he was graduating high school, and he was about to leave for college. So they needed someone to run the boards. From that time, 6 a.m. until 12 noon every Sunday. So believe it or not, they began to train me at 11 years old. 12 years old, I had the job. And that was the infection right there. I caught the bug. They changed the format about 2 years later, and it became an R&B station. This is in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And that first... I think the first month when they transitioned from pop to R&B or to urban, it was the summer, and I was 14, about to turn 15 years of age. So they put me on from midnight to 6 during the summer, right? From midnight to 6, 12 to 6 a.m. And I remember my mom was like, hey, look, school is about to start. You're going to have to let that job go. And I'm like, what? So I talked to the program director. He says, you know what? We're going to work something out. Don't worry about it. We're going to work something out. So I was going to 10th grade. And I remember the guy, he was well seasoned too. I mean, who was working 7 p.m. to midnight. They swapped shifts and said, hey, look, we're going to put you on overnight and put Kevin Nash from 7 p.m. until midnight. And that was it. That was it for me. I had so much fun, even during my high school years. It became so much a part of me.
And it's this whole idea of allowing a child to grow.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm getting at. That's why I started the Accelerated Radio School of Broadcasting, to start them off at a very early age, because, what I was exposed to, that was the main important thing. And I was exposed to this grown-up sort of job, at a very, very early age. And like I said, from the beginning, I never wanted someone to say, hey, look, you can't do this because you're too young. You're too young. I began this journey at the age of 5. When I said I wanted to preach and they didn't allow me to preach, I left. I was 8. You know what I mean? And I do believe too, and I know we're talking about business and various formulas, but as I look back, there was a formula that I always used, and I continue to use this to this day, is that when you begin to live a life, with purpose and on purpose, that I know that God has given me a purpose to do. He's given me time. He's given me resources and everything. So it's my job to be a good steward over every resource he has given me, including my imagination. So things and thoughts that he puts into my imagination, I'm going to move on it quickly. I'm going to move on it because I know that time is a commodity. Time is so very valuable. And I know that the timekeeper is looking and also keeping a very accurate account of how I use that time. So it's so very important, like even for our businesses and business ideas, is that first and foremost, I have to move and operate with integrity, with honesty. We get so caught up in this fiat currency, and we'll do anything to get it. But there is a way to get it, from a spiritual sense, that God will open up a portal for you. I mean, if he knows that your heart and your intentions are in the right place, and you wake up in the morning with good intentions, and being about the purpose that he created you for. And this is not religious talk. This is the formula that has always worked for me, since I was 5 years old. 5 years old. And I have to say, when I left Lake Charles, Louisiana, after graduating high school and went to school and college in San Francisco, I was off the air for a little while, but that bug, I was infected with that bug. So at 18 years old, I'm sending off air check tapes to various radio stations while I was in college, and no phone call back. I'm sure they were looking at my age and go like, "What does this kid know? What does this kid know?" And I began to become very, very discouraged at that point. This is 1987, believe it or not. So I was going to leave school. I said, I'm done. I'm done with California, because it was just culturally so very different for me. I'm walking around waving at everybody, hi. I'm how we do it down south, right? They didn't have the type of foods that I loved. I grew up on, gumbo and ham hocks and things of that nature. I said, I'm going to head on back to a place that's very, very familiar to me. I just recently shared this story with my kids just to give them a word of encouragement. So I got a Greyhound ticket back, a one-way ticket back to Louisiana, going back home, going back to what's familiar. I know there's a job waiting for me. I know that my parents are waiting for me. All of my friends are waiting for me. I'm going back to what's familiar. And that same week I was scheduled to leave, I got a phone call back from 2 radio stations, KTID FM in San Rafael and KDIA AM in Oakland. Now, I'm like, whoa, what is this? What is this? Now, take a guess. Which job did I take?
Oakland.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, I'm from the South. I'm from the South now. We believe in hard work from the South. See, people from California, man, you guys don't seize opportunities the way Southern folk. When we see stuff, it's like, if it's better than digging a ditch, or working on the railroad, or slopping hogs. Hey, take a guess. Which job did I take?
Oakland.
Okay. Wrong.
Really? You went to San Rafael? Okay.
Listen, I took them both. Yes, I took them both. KDIA was during the week. I worked 6 days there, Monday through Saturday, on the air there. Beginning at I was 19 years old when I got those jobs. And I took the weekend. I took the light rock weekend gig at KTID in San Rafael. So 7 to midnight on Saturday and 7 to midnight on Sunday. I took them both. And when I look back at that, I was like, you know what? If God has a plan and a purpose for your life, it will come to pass. I still have those Greyhound tickets. I still have them to this day. That was, 35 years ago. I still have those Greyhound tickets. I was headed back. And God says, no. If you go back, everything that I have planned, that I have stored up resources for you to do moving forward, you're going to mess up everything. But he knew exactly what I needed to stay. Exactly what I needed to stay. So that is my story in radio. And it's still very much in my system. It is in my blood. I absolutely love. I don't waste my time doing things I don't love doing. I do not waste time, my energy, my resources, nothing on things I dislike, and that's one of my prayers in the morning too, when I wake up, just giving thanks and praise to God. When I wake up, the first thing I say is, thank you for giving me something to do that I love to do. thank you for giving me something to do that I love to do. And with that grateful attitude, coupled with, like I said, doing things the honorable way, I mean, the universe seems to open up. I don't worry about a thing. I mean, even during this pandemic, I mean, I know that a lot of studios went out of business. You know, we run this podcast studio, Accelerated Radio, multimedia studio in Inglewood, and we haven't missed a beat. We haven't, and for that, like I said, I don't worry and stress over it because I always know, just looking back every time, that he has always made a way, always opened doors, always provided resources, you know. And sometimes it's at the last second, it's at the last minute. I go to the mailbox, be like, what? This person owed me this money 5 years ago. Wow. You know what I mean? Manifested. Yeah, and that's my story in radio, and then from that, from to Accelerated Radio School of Broadcasting, it has always been, a dream of mine to find a way to give this gift back, and that did not happen until I became an empty nester. I raised my son, and when he left to go to college, and I was devastated. I was lost, because I had poured everything into him. My schedule, time, everything was scheduled around him and making sure that he was okay. And when that was gone, oh my goodness, I'm like, what am I to do? So it took some time for me to break that routine of waking him up in the morning and taking him to school and heading off to work and, picking him up from school, taking him here, taking him there, right? I'm like, what am I to do now? And a friend of mine, Jerome Carter, had this relationship with Accelerated Charter School. He says, Kev, you got this, we got an idea of bringing you in to teach the kids radio. And I said, what? I said, man, this is something I've been wanting to do for years. What? I said, look at God, look at that. And I pitched a proposal to them, about building the studio and how much it was going to cost. And I met with some of the students and they were excited. Long story short, I put a video presentation together, an audio presentation, got with the kids, the curriculum, the whole nine. And, a few months later, they declined. They didn't have enough money to support it. So I almost put it in the trash. I'm like, what am I going to do? I invested all this time and energy, and it really took me about maybe 2 months to come to my senses and go like, wait a second. No, this is great. As a matter of fact, I'm not changing anything. I named it after their school, but no, this is my program, right? And I'm going to call it, I'm going to keep it the same, Accelerated Radio. And so once I came to my senses and took the materials that I produced and pitched to the school, I said, there are over 1,500 schools under LA Unified School District. So I just began to do my due diligence and sent proposals out, and I'm telling you, within the first month, I got about 5 contracts to build radio stations on their school campuses and hire teachers and build an actual physical life-breathing radio station on their campus where kids would have to submit, resumes to be a part and be on the air there on their radio school station's campus. And that was back in 2008. So we've been in business since 2008, teaching the ins and outs of broadcasting to, believe it or not, I was kind of hesitant to start at an elementary school, but I began to look at how I started, and I'm like, they can handle it. And believe it or not, I mean, these kids, I mean, I don't know if it's because of my old age, but when I see them do a break, and they begin to execute what I taught them, I have to go in the corner and go like, this is unbelievable. Like, look, oh my God. Mr. Nash, you crying? No, I'm not. Keep up the good work, son. Keep it up. So that's how that started.
But that's an awesome feeling. I work with kids as well. I teach them how to be entrepreneurs, and just they rise to the top so well. You just plant the seed and they take the seed and they run with the seed. And that's an awesome feeling. So congratulations. So now you just have you have a whole bunch of sons. Like I have a sons and daughters, I'm sure. But you know, working with young people is an amazing experience. I will have to say this, Kevin. I kind of caught that bug. I was interviewed by a Mother Love back in 2006, 7, I think it was 15. And I had such a great time in her studio. And, you know, Mother Love likes to talk.
Yeah.
And so do I. And we were battling on trying to get space. And I said, when I came out of off the show, a friend of mine's called me and she goes, "How did you like it?" I said, "I like this. I'm doing this myself." And so a year later, that's when I launched the Business Zone. It was it was like an addiction. And it's like, and it's you know, and then came the community briefing. So I feel you. I didn't start at your age at 8. In fact, I was terrified to do public speaking in high school, but it is definitely an addiction. So did you have also, in addition to wanting to be on radio, and that was obviously the
Oh, I think she may have froze.
Oh, did you guys hear me?
No, you froze up.
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. I said, did you also have a love for music as well, and gospel versus secular music?
Oh, listen, I mean, where do I start? Yeah, I started in radio for the music, believe it or not. It was all about the music. I've always been how can I put it? I study music. So not just the artist itself, but, you know, just from everything from the tone. I play piano, play a number of different instruments as well. And I've been singing for a very, very long time. But yeah, it was very hard when you, like you said, transitioning out of gospel, you know, into secular. That was, I remember that was the thing that was very, very tough for me. Growing up in Louisiana, of course, we were just so very religious. And, you know, just the Bible and church was just so much part of my everyday life. And I grew up during a time when we called secular music. We didn't call it secular music. You know what we called it back in the day? It was called devil music.
Yes.
Right? You know, he over there playing that devil music, right? I mean, so God really had to spend some time with me to kind of, you know, wash away the residue of that religious thought. And I began to look at music as an expression, you know, a spiritual expression, you know, and just an outlet for, you know, artists to express themselves. So I don't even put a title on music now. I mean, it's to me, if it's the lyrics, if the soul of the music, the spirit of the music, and the tone and the feel of it, that's the most important thing. But I don't separate the two like I used to, where it's secular or it's, you know, it's gospel. You know, being in this business, you know, for so long, I remember, you know, especially at the beat, you know, people would call for certain songs because, you know, it would either brighten their day, you know, it would help them out spiritually or emotionally, whatever they were going through in their relationship, you know. And it wasn't always a gospel song per se that lifted them up, you know. But that's something I had to learn over the years.
Okay. See, Greg?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing on radio is that you're not being seen visually, so people are focused, you know, 100% on your voice, and so you're not distracted by your eyes. You're 100% of your attention is on listening. So that's what radio affords. Question for you: there wasn't too many Black-owned stations back in the day, and can you share a little bit about the environment and ownership and the different people at KDIA?
You know, I was so young at the time, man, and leaving, you know, a state, especially in Lake Charles, where we were very, very segregated. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I mean, it wasn't very many white folk around. You know, even at school, I don't remember going to school with any white folk. And basically, when I was growing up, that's all there were in Louisiana was white and black. So I remember coming out, you know, in California, and I saw Mexicans, Asians. I'm like, wait a second. I remember I met this girl in college, white woman, right? And she said, "Hey, you want to go out for Chinese food?" And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know if I can afford that. I don't even know if I can afford Chinese food. Really? How much that's gonna cost? All right, I gotta call my parents to see if they can send me at least $50, right? You know, to take her out to go eat some Chinese food. So I went there, like Chinese food was like, you know, what, $1.50, $2, and this and that. So I didn't know anything about, okay, who owned what. You know, I didn't even look at that. I didn't even know the rich legacy of KDIA while I was there, believe it or not. I was just so happy to work in a radio station, a real life breathing radio station in California. I didn't have a clue about who owned what, if they were black, if they were white. I didn't have a clue until much, much later. I began to understand and study the rich history of KDIA.
Yeah.
But there is a definite difference, though. Let me tell you. There is, you know, with KMEL was, you know, Clear Channel, and of course, you know, the Beat Clear Channel, which is now iHeartRadio. Those two, they merged. Of course, you know, iHeart bought Clear Channel, just changed the name, but there is a definite difference. And I mean, if I could be transparent and be honest about it, you know, I've noticed, you know, I better not. I better not. We tend to cut corners a little bit, you know, which is not cool. You know,
Yes.
we tend
Tell
to
it,
have
tell
to,
it.
you know, hey, look, this is how much I'm worth. You know, when am I going to get a raise? You know, kind of deal. I have to wait, you know, 10, 15 years before having that conversation. And some station owners could become, you know, offended if you ask, like, huh? But it's been 10 years and nothing. So, I'm to be honest, I didn't have that problem. Raises were set, you know, every year, you know, working for Clear Channel, working for KMEL, working for The Beat, you know, and at the time, like I said, I was in my early 20s, you know, and an extra I think I was making $8,000 extra every year, you know, got an $8,000 raise. You know, I'm like, hey, this is great. And it's something that I expected. So, that's something I did not get, believe it or not, at KDIA, and so I did not get at KBLX. You know, and that's something that we did not even discuss. You know, so there is a definite difference, man. I hate to admit that, and I hate to say that.
With that, I'm sorry, Greg, go ahead.
What career tips can you offer to those who are looking to get in radio? I'll preface it that in theory, there should be a lot more opportunities because you can do podcasting and what have you, where before it was limited. There was only a limited number of stations. There's only a limited number of time slots. I mean, you had what, four time slots, you know, in a broadcast day. And now, you know, you've just got the world at your feet. I mean, you were limited to your broadcast strength, you know, only people within a certain, you know, mile radius, and now the entire world can tune in. So what's that opportunity for those who are in our youth now, or even who are those of us who may be a little older that still want to have a radio show?
Gregory, man, listen, let me start by saying this. The whole idea of internet radio, I remember I started an internet radio station, man, back in 1998. This is when we were transitioning from, I think it was 33.3 to 56K, you know, using a modem dial-up. Remember that? And so the internet speed was a challenge because of, you know, of course, you needed more bandwidth to broadcast, you know, audio, whatever, or digital audio across the internet. I saw back in the day, at least about 12 years ago, man, God had showed me the writing on the wall that this whole terrestrial traditional way of radio and the landscape of radio as we all know it, is changing, right? But there's going to be a new and improved way where you're not limited to a location. It's going to be worldwide, right? And I began to write these ideas down, and believe it or not, I pitched it to a radio station and say, hey, look, we got to make some changes here. We have to put some things in place because the landscape is changing. Sooner or later, this thing is going to be obsolete, so we have to grow. They didn't see it at the time. Of course, now they see it. This is 12 years ago, and God says, I didn't give it to you to give it to them. I need for you to start it on your own. So Accelerated Radio is not just Accelerated Radio School of Broadcasting. We also have the Accelerated Radio Multimedia Studios in Inglewood, right? So what I tell you about that 85-year-old student I have, he started his own show. He's been trying to get on the radio for years. And I pitched it. I said, listen, this is what you got to do. I said, that's the thing of the past, a dinosaur. Here's what you got to do. So it is so wide open to do. If it's in your blood to do it, and believe it or not, I don't think anybody knows this, but since March of last year, I've been broadcasting from home. I've been at the house. I haven't been at KJLH studio at all. I've been I got a trailer that's set and ready to go. I could broadcast anywhere. I was already up and ready to go. So if it's in your blood, if it's in your imagination, if it's in your system, it's something that's that nagging, nebulous thing that keep nagging at you daily to do, the platform is here now. Now it's really up to you to do it. It's really up to you to do it. Equipment has become so far less expensive as it used to be. I mean, one soundboard back in the day, I remember spending like $10,000 just on one soundboard because I wanted my stuff to sound real crisp and clean. Get rid of all that stuff now. You can get a simple USB microphone for $50. You got YouTube now where you can broadcast all over the world. You got Facebook Live. You got Instagram, and people just have to start doing their due diligence to build their following, and this job really requires repetition. You have to do it over and over and over again. Wake up doing it, go to sleep doing it, but if you put the work in, it can happen. But I think the days of submitting air check tapes like I used to do back in the day and hoping for a radio station to call you back, that's almost a thing of the past. That's done.
Hey, you remember carts?
I remember carts? I think I have one. Yeah.
I think I have a couple of carts. I have no way of playing them.
But... But Gregory, do you have a bulky racer?
I used to.
Remember that?
Yeah, the
big old magnet we used to have to slide that cart across to erase it. Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember those days.
No,
reel to reels and splicing tape.
I still have a reel to reel up and running right now.
Oh wow!
A TF.
I bet you don't have a cassette player.
I have a cassette player.
I bet it don't work.
It works. It works.
Got to change the fuse in that thing.
I have a Tascam.
A Tascam. I remember
Tascam cassette that will feed to a CD, read write.
Look at you. All right, man.
I got VCR up and running, reel to reel.
That must be in your museum, right?
Huh?
I said that's in your museum, right? Right next to the dinosaur.
No. It's up and running. And it's in my man cave.
Oh wow, there we go.
Yeah, no, I got it going. I got that. So how can our listeners? How can we support the Academy?
Hey, listen, go to acceleratedраdio.net. Acceleratedраdio.net. I know in the beginning it was very, very hard for people. People said, is it EX? I'm like, no, it's not E. It's ACCELERATED radio.net. So if folk, interested in starting their own podcast, we have 2 beautiful broadcast studios equipped with cameras. If you decide to broadcast to your YouTube page, your Facebook, you could do all of that. The engineers, believe it or not, are, students that I taught, from high school now work for me to run the studio throughout the day. And we're open 24/7, 365. We can be heard on pretty much all platforms like iHeart's app. We got our own app as well. We're on Google Podcasts. Even if you ask Alexa to play Accelerated Radio. She'll play Accelerated Radio. And we got some very interesting shows there. Charles Drew University is there. They've been with me for the past 6 years. They got their medical show that they broadcast every Wednesday at 1:00. We got a cannabis show. We got who's this? The kidney doctor show that comes on. So we have a large variety of shows there at Accelerated Radio. And we got some hip hop shows. We got some, just a little bit of everything. We got gospel programming on Sunday. A few churches are there on Sunday. We're sold out on Sunday and sold out on Saturday. And these are folk, like I said, who may had an interest in doing radio, but was never given the opportunity to do it. And I don't take any of your sponsorship dollars. We charge this one flat rate. And so whatever you sell is yours. Whatever you sell during your show is yours. And basically, I teach them how to do all of that.
So your studio has reopened, post-COVID, or
we never closed.
Never closed. Gotcha. Wow.
We That's never fantastic. Closed.
And where are you located?
1119 South La Brea. That's in Inglewood. 1119 South La Brea. It's right there on the corner of Hardy and La Brea. So we like maybe 2 blocks away from the new SoFi Stadium, right up the street. I can throw a rock from Accelerated Radio and hit the top of SoFi Studio.
And,
so
and right down the street from right down the street from Kindness, Joy, Live, and Happiness.
Right up the street. I remember driving home, right, like every night when I would get off at midnight. I'm like, okay, they're still there. They're still there. And we operate 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day. So if you decide to have a show at midnight, if you decide to have a show at 3 a.m. in the morning, someone will be there to engineer your show. Or like if you decide to engineer your own show, you could do that as well.
My girlfriend Dawn Strozier, I've been on her. She was on your show.
Yeah,
and I came.
Oh,
I
you
was
came by?
Yeah, I was a guest on her show a couple times. Yeah, it's
cool.
Real cool. And I think like you said, nowadays any of you and one of the reasons I started the Business Zone was I saw it as an amazing marketing tool, which it has really worked. I wasn't necessarily wanting to be a DJ, but it has worked amazingly.
It is
as
the
a
best
marketing
tool ever.
Yes.
And believe it or not, so if you happen to land a sponsor, for your show, sponsors are now putting more money into digital radio and podcasting as opposed to traditional. Now, why is that? Well, POD, P-O-D, it's an acronym. POD means program on demand. Program on demand. So, Crystal, if you have your show, right? Say, for instance, if you come on every Thursday live, but I can't make it on Thursday.
Right.
But I can get it Saturday while I'm doing and running my errands, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that on-demand feature, that's what the value is. So when advertisers say, hey, look, we get more bang for our buck because a podcast is perpetual. It's forever. It will never expire. So if that sponsor is embedded in that podcast, hey, look, this show is being brought to you by McDonald's. Go check out the McRib. It's back, for $2. Boom. They're going to get an infinite amount of exposure now because that podcast will never expire. So when someone clicks to listen to your podcast 5 years from now, they're going to be hearing about McDonald's. Now, how much is that worth? That's a lot of money. People are making a whole lot of money doing their podcast. Now, I'm on the air every night, right? If you guys missed my show last night, I had a concert from Keith Sweat, right? If you missed it last night on the radio, it's done. There's no way you can rewind that and listen to it again Saturday while you're running your errands. It's done. So in the like manner, so when we play commercials for 60 seconds, right, it's done. We can't go back and rewind that commercial. But in a podcast, you can. So advertisers are getting very, very smart and go like, wait a second, why are we putting millions and millions of dollars, in this dinosaur, when we got this new technology? And it's not just in one area. It's not just in LA. It's not just in Inglewood. But when you broadcast, it's all over the world. They're like, we're getting more exposure here. So never look at your show or your idea of your show as being something small. It's not small. You are now broadcasting to the world. And you may not have the live audience there, but you leave that thing there for let's say a year or two, and you go back and look at the numbers, you go like, whoa, it will always increase in numbers. And that's how you get the ads.
And you also get, because one of the things I always broadcast live, and then we restream. We were in a studio, but now we restream on one of the restreaming platforms, which are absolutely awesome as well. You just need your microphone and headphone and a great camera, but you also can develop an international, a global network following. We have a following in Africa because I usually broadcast. I will boost it out on Facebook, and a lot of young Africans between the ages of 25 and 35, they've been educated, but they don't have the resources about how to start their businesses. So they really follow us in order to get the tools that we and the resources that we provide. So for those of you that have been contemplating, as Kevin said, you might want to step out there. Obviously, he can help you make it happen. It's a little bit of a, it's a learning curve, but once you get it, it's cool. And if you don't want to be seen, you don't have to. It can be all audio. Most podcasts are audio and not visual. So just a thought. I know for me, I absolutely love it. Thinking of some other program platforms and some other projects that I can put in a podcast platform. I absolutely love it. So when you look at the future, how are you seeing radio? I mean, because we do still have traditional radio stations, and a lot of them have been very resistant to the disruption of podcasting and YouTube and all of that. How do you see that for the future?
Well, I see both, traditional or terrestrial radio merging digitally right now. If you notice that's what iHeart is doing with most of their properties. They changed their name from Clear Channel to iHeart for a reason, putting that I in front of it. So most radio stations, especially now during COVID, we had to do what we had to do. People are stuck at home. Gregory and I might be the only ones with real traditional radios that we can dial in. Greg, I know you still got your analog radio, right? Like me, I can do it. But if you notice, most people don't have it. So they're listening, from their cars primarily. But every radio station has now embraced the fact that, hey, look, we have to jump on board on this digital train if we're going to thrive and survive as a radio station. Radio stations should not be promoting themselves as local stations anymore. Every traditional radio that you listen to should be promoting their station as a global station. With smart speaker devices. I listen to it in the car. I have a Tesla, so all internet radio stations are right there on the screen. It has become that very popular. As a matter of fact, Tesla's decided to take the A.M. ban off. They're not even including them in the cars anymore. What? Yeah, there's no A.M. in Teslas. What? Done. Yeah, no AM. And now they're thinking about getting rid of the FM as well. It's like, what's the point of having it? Because now every radio station is online. So things are merging. I don't know what they're going to be doing with those transmitters, though. Those big old clunky transmitters. I don't know. They might probably use them to open garages or something like that. But it's, COVID has really opened our eyes and go like, hey, look, we really have to step and get on this digital train.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. You've just been so enlightening. I actually going to reach out to you. I want to monetize.
Go ahead and line up both sides of the call.
I want to monetize my show. So I'm going to reach out to you. Maybe I can get some tidbits and some mentoring from
I'm here to help.
All righty. Would love that. Thank you so much.
I'll break out my radio voice.
Come on through, Gregory. Come on, man.
Give me live from England.
One last question before I bring up Dr. Mays, and then Stephen is going to close us out. Was this voice your voice as a child at 8 years old? Or is this something that you have cultivated?
The voice that you guys see, I have no clue what you're talking about. I mean, I hear it all the time, like your voice. I'm like, what? What is it? I listen. I guess as a kid, I've always had somewhat of a deep voice, I guess. But to me, I hear it quite differently from you. I don't hear it. I'm like, what? I sound like you.
Yeah, no, no. But
No?
again,
Good quality
in church,
microphone helps too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
in church, in the bad baritone voice, anybody that is, come out of the church in the choir, that baritone voice is a rare commodity in church. And so as soon as they get up with that baritone voice, you got your full attention, you're at command. So that's what you have there, a church voice.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Barry White is one of my mentors. I was watching his documentary the other night, and that's a voice right there. When that brother speaks, I mean, you feel that rumble, that whoa.
And Kevin, he passed the baton to you, baby.
Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate that.
He passed the baton to you, baby. I'm serious.
Oh, well, thank you.
All those Melvin for the Temptations, that's rare. You can hear that deep rumbling voice.
Yeah, hear him sing Silent Night too. Come on.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas from the Temptations.
Kevin, on behalf of all of us, I want to thank you for coming on the air. It's quite informative during Black History Month. My name is Stephen Turner. I'm one of the co-hosts of the show. At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce one of our resident advisors, Dr. A.M.E, Dr. Vicki Mays.
Hello, Black family.
Hello, Dr. Mays.
Nice to be here. But I'm going to continue with this theme of living life, enjoying life, and talk a little bit about one important thing that I want us as family to do. The opening for the city is on June 15th. You have been given advice about the ability to not wear your mask. So I'm going to tell you to use judgment about this not wearing your mask. Take this as the Black people's advisory. There are more of us who are unvaccinated right now in LA County than any other group. So our gatherings are going to be a little bit more for you to think about whether or not you're as safe as you think safe can be. So I'm going to ask you to really subscribe to the notion of Black people's advisory, not the CDC advisory. See, it's starting with a C, which is crazy, is what I'm saying. Start with the advisory where we're trying to say to you, keep those masks on outside, but be distant. When you're eating, make sure that you're 6+ feet away. And the reason I'm saying this is I spent an hour yesterday listening to the state of California experts about the new variants that are coming in. There's a Delta variant. There are all these different variants that are coming in. The people who they're predicting are going to be most impacted by those variants are the unvaccinated. So people, I'm going to say that, as a Black family, we're going to do Black advisories and tell you the CDC is good on some things, but trust your messengers here in the community and wear your mask in the same way that you did before. That's all I got to deliver today is the Black Advisory Report is in.
And we thank you.
That's wonderful.
I actually bought some more masks last night, not another 150 of them.
And again, Kevin, we want to thank you for joining us. Also, next week, we have on the air will be legendary entertainment attorney Larkin Arnold, as well as entertainment attorney Michael Jamerson. I also, before I transition, I'd like to introduce you to Carla Palmer, who's on the line. She's the associate director. Carla, can you tell a bit more about the center that you work for with children? And
Hi,
she's from Tulsa,
yes.
Oklahoma.
I am. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Turner. I work for an organization here in Los Angeles. It's called United Friends of the Children, and we serve current and former foster youth in LA County. I've been with the organization for going on 18 years. And within the last, I think in 2017, I joined the development team. So I raised funds for the organization. I'm the assistant director of development. And yeah, I mean, we have housing for emancipated foster youth between the ages of 18 and 24. And we have an education program that serves youth starting in 6th grade all the way through the completion of a college degree. So really happy to be here. Most of our youth are Black and brown individuals, and really happy to serve this vulnerable population. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Carla. Do you have any 13 to 18-year-olds that like to be entrepreneurs? Have a program that's going on, and we have about 10 spaces still left. It's a completely free entrepreneur program that I do with the Urban League. So if you want to reach out to me, if you have any kids, we'd love to for them to apply.
Sure, I can get that information over to our programs if I can get it from you later.
Okay.
Or you can put it in the chat.
I can put my contact number in the chat. Kevin, before you leave, I have a young lady that wants to start her own podcast. She's just a dynamite young lady. And so I will reach out to you so I can get some information. She's really into civil rights, and she just recently started her own business, and she's just doing some incredible things. But one of the things she wants to do is start her own podcast. She's 16.
She's 16. Oh, awesome. Okay, great. Yeah. I do have a phone number too, if you guys want to jot this down to Accelerated Radio. It's 310-910-9676.
Okay.
So that's 310-910-9676.
I will give you a reach out. She's a pretty awesome young lady. She just won she's actually been winning our entrepreneur contest for the last 3 competitions she participated in, but she's a member of the NAACP. She's just amazing. And she would be awesome on air.
Oh, great. Yeah. I would love to have her.
Okay, well, I will give you a call. Well, thank you everyone for coming out and joining us. And please share the platform. You can go to YouTube, and you can go to Facebook Live. It's broadcast there, as well as going to our communitybriefing.com website. And this this show will be up there the next day or so. But the shows that we've done before previous are there as well, the last 3 shows for sure. And you can also go on the community briefing and Recycling Black Dollars and find all our other shows. And I just put up 6 or 7 shows on my LinkedIn on Sunday. So you can go back and catch all the shows that you didn't catch. And we want to thank you and have a great weekend. Keep your mask on, keep social distance. People still are getting COVID. I just got a call the other day from a friend of mine that got COVID from a parent meeting. Her child is in school. Be safe, guys. You don't want to have come this far and not got COVID and then get COVID today. That's just crazy. So love you all. We'll see you next week. Be safe. Have a great weekend. Kevin, thank you. Thank everyone for coming on. Our regulars, thank you guys for supporting us and continue to support us. And we hope to see everyone back next Thursday.
All right.
All righty. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Goodbye, everybody. Great day.
Bye-bye. Take us out, Greg.
There you go.
Take us out with the music.
See, I kept quiet today.
Hey, Kevin, how are you? Hey, Simone.
Hey, things are moving way too fast.
Are you here yet?
No, I'll be there before the end of the month.
Okay.
And catching up with Kevin is going to be exciting. I need to circle back with you because Ronell's getting ready to miss a lot of money.
Okay. All righty. You know, Greg, Kevin is coming back to California. He's giving up Nevada.
Well, I'm the
they're giving him up or they're kicking him out, which is
I'm the prodigal son that is coming back, and I'm bringing back gifts and jewels because I've been to the promised land. I'm going to leave behind some friends that know that this still is that.